Good morning, student. I myself, Dr. Murtaza Badi Sadriwala. I am going to teach today ankle joint. Last time we have learned about the knee joint. Today we are going to learn this about ankle joint. So ankle joint, we know that this is a joint of the lower leg. So between the lower part of the leg and the foot. And this is very important to know the anatomy. Why? Now very oftenly in clinic the patient we find there is a spraining or a strain on the ankle. Sometimes patient says complain कि चलता चलता पाय मुड़ना, means there is a twisting on at the ankle and this spraining of the ligaments. So therefore we should know about this joint, its structure, its articular surface and its ligament. So therefore to deal with such cases in practice, so anatomical structure to understand is a very important part. Now today in this ankle joint we are going to learn about the subtype of the joint. Then we are going to see about its ligaments, relation, blood supply, then the movements and applied importance. So now if you see this ankle joint, so structurally this joint is very strong. Among all the joints, like as compared to the knee joint, and last time we discussed, okay, like this is anteriorly weak. Now compared to that, this joint is structurally very strong. And anyhow, the whole body weight is also get lifted towards the foot, towards the ground. So therefore, on this joint, so the stability of this joint is very strong. Now the type of this joint, this is a synovial joint. As we know that all these freely movable joints are synovial, and then its subtype is a hinge variety. So here is interlocking between the lower end of the tibia, that's both the malleoli of the medial malleolus of tibia and the lateral malleolus of the fibula, and the talus bone. So there is an interlocking here. So therefore it is a hinge variety. Then we'll see the articular surfaces. In articular surfaces, we'll classify, we'll show you on the bone also, the superior articular surface and the inferior articular surfaces. So superior articular surface is formed by the three. What are the three parts? Three things. That's the first is the lower end of the tibia. Now as we can see here, so this lower end of the tibia including this medial malleolus, and the lateral malleolus of the fibula, and this lateral malleolus of the fibula. So these two, and in between this the lower, this tibiofibular joint, so that is a inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament. So these three things are forms this what we can say this superior articular surface. So superior articular surface, lower end of the tibia including medial malleolus, the lateral malleolus of the fibula, and inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament. I will show you on this bones. Now inferiorly this is by the talus. So this bone is a talus. So on the talus, so three aspects of the talus, the articular areas of the three aspects. So there is the upper aspect, the medial and the lateral. So medial, lateral and the superior. So these three aspects of this articular areas of this talus. So this forms the inferior articular surfaces. So this way, these are the articular surfaces. Now let's see on this bone. Now see, this is a tibia, this is a fibula, fibula, this is talus, and this is a calcaneus. This is a calcaneum. So that is a calcaneus bone. Now this way, this bone get articulated over here. Then this is going to form the inferior articular surface, and now in the superior articular surface we can see over here Now see, this is the deep socket. Here this deep socket is formed. Here is this is a deep socket, and this deep socket is formed by, this is the lower end of the tibia and the medial malleolus, and this is the lateral malleolus of the fibula. So this forms, and now on the posterior aspect, on its posterior side there is a inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament, because this ligament which is attached on the posteriorly here, so this will forms a what we can say the deep socket of the superior articular surface of this ankle joint. Now here this is the inferior articular surface by the talus. So this way there is a movement on this, and this is the inferior articular surface. So this is how the things are here. Clear? So this is how it's formed. So this is about the ankle joint, and these are the articular surfaces. Next part we'll see the stability of the ankle joint. As we discussed, that ankle joint is very strong, and the stability of this joint is ensured by the following three factors. So first is a close interlocking between the articular surfaces of this malleoli of tibia and fibula and the talus. So that there is a what we can say here, as we have seen. So with this there is what we can say the close. So this close interlocking. So this is a close interlocking of this articular surfaces of the both tibia and fibula and this talus. First one. Second, strong collateral ligaments on the sides. Yes, on this side, on either side, lateral and medially, there is a strong collateral ligaments. They are present. So therefore, that gives us stability. And third, the tendons. Yes, this is very important. So in the lower part of the leg, from leg to the foot and to the toes, the tendons which goes and attach. So these are the four tendons anteriorly. Anteriorly the four tendons, and behind the five tendons. So this gives so the names of these tendons we are going to learn in the relationship. So now remember this. So this is also again an important point that as we have discussed, this is a strong joint. So therefore stability is ensured by the following these factors, and these are the close interlocking of articular surfaces. One, this is very simple. Then strong collateral ligaments on either side. Strong collateral ligaments on either sides, and then the tendons which crosses the joint. So four tendons anteriorly and five tendons posteriorly. So this crosses and they gives the surrounding the joint. So they gives a stability to this joint. Therefore, this joint is a strong joint. Now next, the depth of this superior articular surface. So depth of the superior articular surface. Now see this. So where the talus can be interlocked easily. So here see now this. So this interlocking of the talus. So therefore this depth of the superior articular socket is by the two factors which contribute here. So these are the malleoli. The two malleoli, the medial malleoli and the lateral malleoli of tibia and fibula respectively. So this, and second point is a transverse tibiofibular ligament. This transverse tibiofibular ligament on the posteriorly of this joint. So because that attaches the tibia and the fibula inferiorly, so this is a inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament. So this gives a stability and this gives a depth to this socket. So superior articular socket over the talus. So on this talus, therefore this can easily make some movement. So this gives a depth of the socket. Next part we are learning is ligaments of ankle joint. Now there are three ligaments of ankle joint. So first is a fibrous capsule which surrounds the entire joint. Then the deltoid ligament which is on the medial side. Medial side is a deltoid ligament. So medial ligament is also called the deltoid ligament. It's a very important, and this also asks as a separate short note for 5 marks about the deltoid ligament. So we'll discuss that in detail. and then a lateral ligament on the lateral side. So the lateral ligament. So here we are going to learn in details about all these three ligaments. Now first we'll discuss about this fibrous capsule. First we are going to do this fibrous capsule. As we know, all synovial joints in the body, all large joints in the body are synovial, and these are surrounded by the complete joint is covered by the capsule. Therefore, it's a capsulated. We can say so. It's a capsule. So this fibrous capsule. So now the following 5 points we are going to discuss here. That it surrounds the entire joint. As we know, as I have discussed, the capsule surrounds the entire joint. But there are two exceptions over here about its attachment. So as it is attached all around the articular margin, whatever the articular margins of tibia, fibula, the malleolus, and then the what we can say the medial and the lateral aspect of the this talus. So therefore all these articular margin, so it is attached all around the articular margin with the two exceptions. Two exception is that posterior-superiorly. So here at this joint, so at this posterior-superiorly, so here on the posterior and superior aspect. So here is I have discussed that is the inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament. So here the capsule get attached because posteriorly there is no such means articular margin. So there is this ligament is there. Inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament, which is on the posterior side between the tibia and fibula in inferior part, which is attached. So inferior tibiofibular ligament is attached on that. So posterior superior is attached to the inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament. This is one exception. Rest the capsule surrounds all articular margin of the joint. But these two exceptions where it is not the articular margin but it is attached here on the posterior superior to the inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament. And second, antero-inferior. Now antero-inferiorly. So as we know this antero-inferiorly. So antero-inferiorly is this talus. So now we know this talus. So in the talus, then this is the dorsum of the neck. So this part, this is the dorsal aspect of this neck of the talus. So it is attached to the dorsum of the neck of the talus. Dorsum. So this is the dorsal aspect of the neck and neck of the talus. So here it is attached. So antero-inferior. So these are the two exceptions. So therefore this capsule, fibrous capsule, it surrounds the entire joint. It attached to the articular margin of the joint with the two exceptions. Posterior-superiorly to the inferior transverse ligament of the transverse ligament or tibiofibular ligament, inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament, and anterior-inferiorly to the dorsum of the neck of the talus. So these. Now next, this capsule, the third characteristics about this fibrous capsule over here. So this, the third point, that is anteriorly and posteriorly. So anterior and posteriorly on these parts, the capsule is loose and thin. Anterior and posterior, because we know like in the movements, in the joint movements, this is a dorsiflexion and plantar aspect. There's a so this is extension. So this movement. So therefore it allows the movement because of the hinge. So therefore this what we can say this capsule is loose and thin on its anterior and the posterior part. So therefore it allows a hinge movement. The hinge movement is possible. Next, on each side, because the capsule is as loose on anterior and posterior, so on either side, lateral and medial. So on this side, so there is a strong collateral ligaments are attached. Strong collateral ligament supports this joint. And the synovial membrane, because this is a synovial joint, so synovial membrane lines means inner aspect of the capsule. So this synovial membrane lines the capsule. And the cavity, the synovial cavity, which ascends up to this deep socket, articular surface here. So therefore this which is filled with the synovial fluid. So therefore these are the what we can say characteristics of the fibrous capsule. So these are the 5 points in the fibrous capsule. Very simple. It surrounds the entire joint. Then it is attached. The capsule attached to the articular margins of the joint with the two exceptions. Posterior superiorly, so where it is attached to the inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament, and anteroinferiorly it is attached to the dorsum of the neck, as I have shown this dorsum of the neck of the talus. And next, what we can say, anterior posteriorly this capsule is loose and thin on its anterior and the posterior aspect. To allow the hinge movement, to allow this hinge movement, to allow this movement of this what we can say the talus. So therefore this movements of this, therefore anterior posteriorly it is loose and thin, and on either side is supported by the strong collateral ligaments, and then this synovial joint. So therefore synovial membrane lines the capsule, and the cavity is ascends up till this superior articular surface, so in that filled with the synovial fluid. So this is about the fibrous capsule. Now the second ligament we will study, and this second ligament is a deltoid ligament. Deltoid ligament is also known as a medial ligament of the ankle joint. So medial ligament is specially called as a deltoid ligament. Now here in this diagram you will see. So this deltoid ligament, the characteristics of this ligament you see, it's a very strong ligament, and this is a triangular in shape, and this is a somewhat triangular in shape. So this ligament is a strong and triangular ligament, and is present on the medial side or medial aspect, medial side of the ankle. That's the reason it is called as a medial ligament. It is present on the medial. So this deltoid ligament is a very strong and triangular ligament, and it is present on the medial side of the ankle. Now this deltoid ligament we can divide into two parts, the superficial part and the deep part. The superficial part and the deep part. So now the attachment of both superficial and deep part, so both their attachment is at the common on the above upper part at the apex and the margin of the medial malleolus of the tibia. Medial malleolus is tibia, and this is the medial malleolus. So on the apex and the margin of the medial malleolus of tibia, both superficial and deep, they have a common attachment at this apex and the margin of the medial malleolus of tibia. Then next part we see is lower attachment. So that is separately lower attachment with the superficial part and the deep part. Superficial part and the deep part. Now superficial part we divide into the three types. The fibers into the three parts. The three types of the fibers: the anterior fiber, the posterior fiber, and middle fiber. Anterior fiber, middle fiber, and posterior fiber. These are the three. So now anterior fiber is attached. Now so therefore it is called as a tibio-navicular ligament. Tibio-navicular because from the apex of the medial malleolus of the tibia to the navicular bone. Therefore it is called as a anterior fiber. It is also called as a tibio-navicular. Whereas the middle fiber is called as, clear? So this middle fiber is called as, that is a tibio-calcaneal ligament. That is called as a tibio-calcaneal ligament. And the posterior fiber, so this posterior fiber which is attached to the medial tubercle and the adjoining medial surface of the talus, this talus. So that attached on the talus. So medial tubercle and the medial surface of the talus. So now we'll see one by one. So the three parts, because on the part where they attach, so they are called as anterior fiber, middle fiber, and posterior fiber. Anterior fiber is also called as a tibio-navicular ligament. Then the middle fiber is called as a tibio-calcaneal ligament, and this posterior fibers is called as what we can say, that is posterior. So that part, so which is on the talus, so that is a posterior tibio-talar ligament. That is called as a posterior because it is on the posterior part of this, on the medial surface. So tibio-talar ligament, posterior tibio-talar ligament. So these are the three. So first we'll see anterior attached fibers attached, that is a tibio-navicular. So that is attached to the tuberosity of the navicular bone. That is attached to the tuberosity of the navicular bone and to the medial margin of the spring ligament. See, this is the spring ligament and it's the medial margin, and to the medial margin of the spring ligament. So this is the anterior fiber. The two attachment at the two places. That is a tuberosity of the navicular bone. Tuberosity of the navicular bone, one, and second is the medial margin of spring ligament. So this is a spring ligament. Then the middle fiber. The middle fiber is attached to the whole length of the sustentaculum talus. This sustentaculum talus on the calcaneum. This is the sustentaculum talus on its whole margin of the sustentaculum talus. It is attached. Then the third, posterior fibers, that is a posterior tibio-talar ligament, and that is attached to the medial tubercle. So that is attached to the medial tubercle and the adjoining medial surface, posterior part of the medial surface. So that is the adjoining medial surface of the talus on the posterior surface. So these are the about it. So what we have discussed is about it superficial. Now the deep fibers, deep, which is because superficial is on superficial and the deeper to it. So that is attached to the anterior part of the medial surface of the talus. Anterior part of the medial surface of the talus. Therefore, that is called as a anterior tibio-talar ligament. Anterior tibio-talar ligament, because now this is on the posterior part and that is on the anterior. So therefore, that is on the anterior aspect of the medial surface. Anterior aspect of the medial surface of the talus. This medial surface is anterior aspect is by the deep fibers, and posterior aspect by the posterior fibers on medial surface only of the superficial. Okay. So this is therefore this is all about the superficial and the deep part. So this is how you have to describe. So this ligament is a very strong medial ligament, or also called as a deltoid ligament, and this is very strong. And second, this is present on the medial side of the ankle joint. It's a triangular in shape. This is a triangular in shape. Then it is divided into two parts, superficial and deep. Superficial, both superficial and deep have a common origin superiorly to the apex and the margin of the medial malleolus of tibia, and its lower attachment are separate. So the what we can say this superficial part is divided into the three types of fibers: anterior fiber, middle fiber, and posterior. Anterior, medial, and the posterior fiber. Anterior fiber is attached on the tuberosity of the navicular bone and the medial margin of the spring ligament. Whereas the middle fiber, so middle fibers are attached to the whole length of the sustentaculum talus of the calcaneum, and then posterior fiber is attached to the medial tubercle and the adjoining medial surface of the talus. That's the reason anterior fiber is also called as a tibio-navicular ligament. The middle fiber is called as a tibio-calcaneal ligament, and the posterior fiber is called as a posterior tibio-talar ligament. This is what I have revised. And the deep part, that is attached deeper to it, and that is attached to the anterior aspect of the medial surface of the talus. Therefore, it is called as an anterior tibio-talar ligament also. Now this what we can say the deltoid ligament or medial ligament. So this crossed by the two tendons, and these tendons are the tibialis posterior. These tendons are the tibialis posterior and flexor digitorum longus. Flexor digitorum longus and tibialis posterior. So these two tendons cross the what we can say this deltoid ligament. So this is all about the details of this deltoid ligament. Now next part, the third ligament we are learning, and this is the lateral ligament. So lateral ligament is consist of three bands. Now as here in this diagram we can see, this is the lateral malleolus of fibula, and this is a talus bone, and this is a calcaneum. So 3 band of this ligament, lateral ligament 3 band. This is the anterior, this is a posterior, and this is the talocalcaneum. So now this anterior, this anterior band, there is anterior talofibular, talus to fibula, as the lateral malleolus. So talofibular, anterior talofibular, this one band. Then another is a posterior, on the posterior talofibular. So this is the posterior part of the talus to the, what we can say, fibula, lateral malleolus. So there is a talofibular, and this is a calcaneofibular, from the calcaneum to the lateral malleolus, to this lateral surface, on the tubercle of the lateral surface of this calcaneum. So therefore, very simple. This is very easy. So the 3 bands. So lateral ligaments we divide, and that means that consists of the 3 bands. So the anterior talofibular ligament, posterior talofibular ligament, and the calcaneofibular ligament. So these are 3. Now we will see its attachment. This anterior talofibular is a flat. So this is a flat band. So it's a flat. Now see here, the diagrams we find this is a flat. So now this is attached from where to where? So therefore it passes from the margin. So margin of the lateral malleolus. Yes, see this. This is the lateral malleolus, and it's the margin of the lateral malleolus. So margin of the lateral malleolus. So see, this margin is what? Anterior margin. So that is from the anterior margin of the lateral malleolus of the fibula to the neck of the talus. So here, this is the neck. So this head and this is the neck. This is the neck of the talus. So this neck of the talus. So here anterior. So that is from the anterior margin of the lateral malleolus of fibula to the neck of the talus. So this is the attachment of this anterior talofibular ligament. Clear? So in front of this the facet of this fibula. Clear? So this is a very simple anterior margin of the attachment, anterior margin of the lateral malleolus of fibula to the neck of the talus. Second, you see the posterior. Now this ligament here in the red shading what I have shown. So this posterior talofibular. Posterior talofibular that passes from the lower part of the, what we can say, the malleolar fossa. Now see this is a malleolus and it's a malleolar fossa. So this on the lower part. So here this is broken here, but this is the malleolar fossa. So on the posterior part. So see anteriorly from the anterior margin and posteriorly from the lower part of the, clear? So that is a malleolar fossa of fibula. Malleolar fossa. This here is the malleolar fossa of the fibula to the lateral tubercle of the talus. So there is a lateral tubercle of the talus. Clear? So that is to the lateral, what we can say, the tubercle of the talus. So that is what attachment. So this. So now here, so this is how attachment of this posterior talofibular from the lower part of the malleolar fossa of the fibula. Malleolar fossa, malleolus. So it's a fossa or a little depression which is present over here. So malleolar fossa. So what we can say, lower part of the malleolar fossa of the fibula to the tubercle. Clear? So that is the lateral tubercle of the talus, on the lateral tubercle of the talus. Now next we'll see the third band. That is the calcaneofibular. And calcaneofibular, if you see, it's a shape. So it is a long, is a rounded rounded cord. So this is a rounded cord like. So it attaches from. So this passes from the notch on the lower border of the lateral, again malleolus. So lateral malleolus. So that is a notch on the lower border of the lateral malleolus. So this notch on the, that is on this lateral malleolus, there is a lower border. So this lower border. So there is a notch on the lower border of this lateral malleolus. See now. So therefore it passes from, as we have said, it passes from the notch on the lateral, on the lower part of the lateral malleolus of fibula. to the tubercle on the calcaneum, to the lateral surface of calcaneum. Okay. So now see, this is a tubercle on the lateral surface of this calcaneum. Now if you when you touch and see, you will find here is a tubercle, lateral. So tubercle on this lateral surface of calcaneum. So this is how the attachment. So these are these three lines. Very simple, very clear. Anterior talofibular, okay, then the posterior talofibular, and then the third is a calcaneofibular. So anterior talofibular is from the anterior margin of the lateral malleolus to the neck of the talus. Posterior talofibular, it is from the, what we can say, the lower part of the malleolar fossa, lower part of the malleolar fossa of the fibula to the lateral tubercle of the talus. And then this calcaneofibular, so this is from the, what we can say, the notch on the lower border of the lateral malleolus of fibula to the tubercle on the lateral surface of the calcaneum. So this is our three bands of this. Then now the tendons on this lateral ligament that supports or passes. So this cross by. So the lateral ligament cross by the tendons, the two tendons, peroneus longus and peroneus brevis. Peroneus longus and peroneus brevis. So these are these two ligaments. So this is what we have understand over here. So the three bands of the lateral ligament and crossed by the two tendons, peroneus longus and peroneus brevis. So this is all about this lateral ligament. Next part we are learning is the relationship of the ankle joint. Relationship is very simple, the anterior and posterior relation. So as we already discussed in earlier part of this topic, that the four tendons are present on anterior, which gives the stability, and five tendons on the posterior. So therefore now we will make a list of that. So anteriorly from median to lateral. So now see, from this median, so this is the anterior aspect and this is the posterior. From median to lateral, so the four tendons and the arteries and the nerves, means vessels and nerves. So therefore this anteriorly is a tibialis anterior, the muscle tibialis, tendon of this tibialis anterior. Then extensor hallucis longus, extensor digitorum longus, and the peroneus tertius. So these are the four tendon anterior. Four tendon. So the name of these four tendon, very simple. Tibialis anterior, and the tendon is supplying to the great toe, extensor. So there is an extensor hallucis great toe, hallucis longus. Then to all other remaining four toes. So there is a digitorum. So extensor digitorum longus, the four tendons which goes. So clear. And then the peroneus tertius. So these are the four tendons anteriorly. And the vessels are anterior tibial vessels anteriorly, and the deep peroneal nerve, So these are the six relations what we are finding on anteriorly. Four tendons, and then the anterior tibial vessels and the deep peroneal nerve. So tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus, extensor digitorum longus, and the peroneus tertius. Very simple this relation. Then posteriorly, this is now the posterior. So with this simple diagram, the line diagram, you have to show the talus, the lateral malleolus, the middle malleolus, and now it's the posterior relation, the five tendons. So five tendons. So is what we are showing, these five tendons. So these five tendons are peroneus, clear. So two peroni, and then here the tibialis posterior, same exact opposite. Tibialis posterior, flexor hallucis longus, then the flexor digitorum longus, then peroneus tertius, longus and peroneus brevis. Instead of tertius, what is the anterior? So here, so therefore this, and then the tibial nerve, and then the posterior tibial vessels. So these anterior is the anterior tibial vessels, posterior is the posterior tibial vessels, anterior is the deep peroneal nerve, and posterior is the tibial nerve. Clear. So therefore, the four tendons anteriorly, five tendons posteriorly. Posteriorly, the tendons are tibialis posterior, then the flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, then the peroneus brevis and peroneus longus. So these are the five tendons. What clearly in the diagram what we have shown. So very simple what you have to remember. So the what we can say the tendons, four on anterior, five on posterior, and then also gives us stability. These are the name of the tendons. Very simple this tendon. Clear. So this is all about the relationship. Next part we are learning is a movement. So movements at the ankle are of the two movements. So that is a dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. So we can see here on this leg. So see this is a dorsi. This is here at the ankle. This is a dorsiflexion. Dorsi means raising the foot up. Dorsiflexion, and then depressing, taking it down. This is a plantar flexion. Plantar flexion. So dorsiflexion, raising the forefoot upwards, and depressing it downward. That is a plantar flexion. So these are the two active movement, and because the hinge variety, so only these two movements. So dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. Clear? We'll see now what muscles that support. So dorsiflexion is how already I have said. That is a forefoot is raised. Here is a forefoot is raised, and the angle between the leg and the dorsum of the foot is diminished because this angle will be less. And in the plantar flexion, the forefoot is depressed. So therefore, angle between the leg, lower part of the leg, and the dorsum of the foot, that angle will be increased. So the muscles which, of course, the tendons which are present on the anteriorly and posteriorly. So is the extensor and flexor too. So now the muscles producing movement, the main muscle for the dorsiflexion is, of course, what? Tibialis anterior. Tibialis anterior, very strong. Therefore, it helps in the raising the foot up. That is a dorsiflexion. And the accessory muscles are the extensor digitorum longus, extensor hallucis longus, and peroneus tertius. So these are the other, all these four tendons. So in that the tibialis anterior, tibialis anterior is the main, and rest all those three, extensor digitorum longus, extensor hallucis longus, and the peroneus tertius are accessory muscles. And now in the plantar flexion. In plantar flexion, so for the main muscle is the calf muscle, that is the gastrocnemius and soleus. So that is these muscles, calf muscle, that forms a tendocalcaneus. So that going to helpful. So that depressing the forefoot. So in that the main muscles involved for that plantar flexion is the gastrocnemius and soleus, and the accessory muscles are plantaris, then the tibialis posterior, and then the flexor hallucis longus and flexor digitorum longus. So these are the muscles. So these are the two main movements, very simple. So dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. Now after that we'll see the blood supply. So whatever the surrounding, the main vessels are involved, tibialis anterior, tibialis posterior, and then the peroneal arteries. So these arteries forms the anastomosis, and that supplies to the ankle joint. So ankle joint, the blood supply. So very simple. All we have to mention is the anterior tibial, posterior tibial, and the peroneal arteries. Nerve supply. Again, nerve supply to this joint is deep peroneal nerve, and then tibial nerve. Tibial nerve. So branch from the sciatic. Clear. So tibial nerve, and then the deep peroneal nerve. So these nerve supplies to the ankle joint. Now apply anatomy. So in the beginning I have said the sprain of the ankle is very common. So sprains of the ankle, and mostly this sprain is abduction. Abduction means on outer side, laterally, this way. So many times with the high heels or while walking and with some stones in between, and then there is a sudden. So therefore this very common is the abduction sprain, and because of this abduction sprain, so there may be sometimes a tear to the few fibers of the deltoid ligament. So therefore sprain of the ankle is very common in this applied importance. Very often we see, and most common is abduction sprain, and it may lead to the sometimes because of the intensity and severity. So there may be the few fibers of the deltoid ligament may get tear. Then true sprain of the ankle is always caused by the forced flexion, forced plantar flexion, forced plantar flexion. When there is a forcefully when plantar flexion, so that time the chances of these two spraining is more. And many times even the subtalar joint, normally with this abduction sprain, subtalar joints, so that spraining part may be involved more. Then second, dislocation. Normal dislocation of ankle is a very rare. And if dislocation occurs, it always exists with some of the fracture at the malleoli of any of these. Either of the one malleoli may get fractured. Then because why? Because we know that this joint is very stable, is very strong, and because of the deep socket by the upper articular surfaces, by the prolongation of the malleoli downwards of both medial and lateral malleoli. That so therefore this gives a deep socket, and then the talus bone get what we can say articulate. So therefore this joint, this hinge variety. So here what we can say dislocation though is not very frequent. But if the dislocation of the ankle occurs, is always accompanied with a fracture of any one of the malleoli. Now next third we'll see the to prevent the ankylosis, means the inflammation of this synovial joint of this what we can say at the ankle. So most commonly the optimal position of ankle is always a slight plantar flexion, slight plantar. So normally when even in sitting position and towards the ground, it's a slight plantar flexion. So that is probable optimal position, and that prevent or avoid the ankylosis. Then the displacement of tibia and fibula is prevented by the following factors. So the following four factors is very common. So first is the talus. The shape of the talus is a vase shape, and because of this vase shaped talus, so both the malleoli get fit. So it allows the expansion and the vase shape. So therefore the malleoli get fit. So therefore there is a interlocking of this joint, both superior and inferior articular surfaces. Then second is the posterior border of the lower end of the tibia. Posterior border of so now this. So here we can say this posterior border. So this posterior border of lower end of the tibia. This lower end of the tibia. So it is prolonged downwards. This posterior is somewhat more prolonged compared to anterior is a prolonged downwards. So that also gives a depth of the socket, and that it protects. So prevents the dislocation or displacement of this tibia and fibula. And third is the presence of the inferior transverse tibiofibular ligament, which joins both tibia and fibula. So that which is on the posterior aspect. So therefore forward displacement is always protected or prevented. And then this deltoid and the lateral ligament, so the parts of those fibers, so that is a tibiocalcaneal, posterior tibiotalar, then the calcaneofibular and posterior talofibular. All these all ligaments, they passes backwards, and therefore they resist the forward movement of the tibia and fibula. So this way, these are the four factors which prevent the displacement of the tibia and fibula. So therefore this joint is very strong, and the dislocation is very rare. That spreading may be the very common. So with this all in details, we have learned about this ankle joint, with its types, subtypes, the articular surfaces, the ligaments, the stability of the joint, then the relationship movements with the muscles responsible for it, both the dorsiflexion and the plantar flexion, then the blood supply, nerve supply, and the applied importance. So with this all about this joint, thank you very much.